Hello, and I appreciate you signing up for our email newsletter and getting on our list. And as a bonus here, you get access to these videos, and we're going to show you how to get your business listed on Google and show you how to get high rankings on Google. And then the last thing we're going to cover is a couple options as far as the next steps that you're really going to need to make a decision on which way you want to go. Now, the decision is not hard, so don't worry about that, but it is important to make the decision because your business is not going to get more customers if you do nothing. You have to take some sort of action. That's what we're going to talk about. But before we go over to Google Places, this is just a quick screenshot. I wanted to cover a few things here that are kind of some of the keys to making sure that you get success and achieve the success that you want to regarding Google Places. The first thing to note is that it's going to be very easy submitting your business, and actually we're going to take you through that step by step here. And actually this is the supplemental video that talks about right there. And then number two is one thing that you want to make note of, and this kind of overlaps into the 7-step system of high rankings, is you want to include as much information as possible in your listings. Make it complete. The more information that you provide, the better off you're going to be. And then number three is you want to create categories based on your most searched keywords. For example, Dallas collision repair, Dallas auto painting. And really what keywords are the search terms that people are typing into the search engines to find local businesses to buy from. So I'm from Omaha, and so if you type in Omaha restaurants, it's going to bring in certain restaurants based on their rankings. So while it's very, very important to understand what keywords are, we're not going to go into the depths and details of doing all the keyword research for your particular business. What we'll do is we'll show you a free tool that's available that you can use to help you, but believe me, there's actually some science to it, and it's not super difficult, but it is somewhat complicated to get to the depths that you need to understand what keywords are really going to benefit your business. But it is important to know that. So let's go over to Google Places and let's walk through the steps to get you listed, get your business listed there. Okay, the first thing you need to notice is that there is an area where you need to sign up for a Google account. If you don't have a Google account already, like a Gmail account or anything like that, all you need to do is sign up for one real quick. It's painless, doesn't take long, but then that will give you access to not only Google Places, but all kinds of different things that you can do to maximize the tools that Google makes available. So it's important to have a Google account anyway. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. So here we are in a sample account that I set up, and as you can see here, Google Places is there. And here we are in Google Places, and this is where you can add a new business or upload a data file. And really what uploading a data file is for is if you have multiple, well, one of the reasons is if you have multiple locations, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to worry about one single location here. And then as you can see, you're going to put your company information here, street address, town, all this stuff. And what it's going to do is it's going to zero in on your location to help create that map that is so vitally important for the Google map. Okay, now you can see here that I filled out some information actually on my own corporate training company that I have that is located in La Vista, Nebraska, which is a suburb of Omaha. But as you can see, I put in the information up here, right here, and then that produces a cool little map there. So you can see what that's all about there. And then next, let's just move down here a little bit. And then you can see I have a phone number, email address, website, all that stuff. All that stuff is very, very simple and obvious, I think. But here is where some of the information gets very important to do. In your description, you need some of your keywords, and this is part of the 7 steps to higher rankings. But as you can see, one of my keywords is Omaha training, so I was able to put that in there. Another one is personal accountability training, because that's really what my system does, or my training system that I work with does. And then we also It's also perfect for sales training and management training as well. And so then once this gets up, then we optimize it and follow the 7 steps. When people type in Omaha sales training or Omaha management training, those type of things, my business is going to be able to show up. And then if you go down here to the categories section here, we got highlighted, Omaha training again, sales training, management training, employee training, and then you have to have one that is based on Google's own services or categories. So you can have your own categories, up to 4 of them, and then at least one of them, because you can have a maximum of 5, has to be something that is closely related to your business. Now the closest one that I could find to what I do is business management consultant. So that's what that information is for, and it's critically important to do it that way, is to make sure that you use your key terms and your key phrases in here that people are going to search for. And that is another little tip for the 7-step system there. So we're getting a tad bit ahead of ourselves, but it's important to talk about now. Then all you do here is hit next. And then it brings you to this listing. Are you already on Google Maps? Well, no. You see Achieve National, an Omaha training company, which, by the way, is another little tidbit that we're going to go over. But when you put your keyword as part of your business name, that's also going to help. So that's another little tip. But you can see that there's other companies that they are wondering if we're associated with, and based on some of the training terms that we put in, it's pulling up the University of Nebraska and Omaha, that type of stuff. So we don't need to worry about that, and it also has my other business as well there. So all we're going to do is click on Add Listing. And then it brings you to this section where it's going to ask you some general information for your business. And the first one is basically your service areas and location settings. So it's asking, this business, yes, this business serves customers at their locations. If you're a restaurant or something like that, you may want to put no, because you just have customers coming to you. However, if you do catering and things like that, you may want to put yes. For this business example, we put yes because we actually go to the businesses that we provide services to actually at their location. So, and we'll just put a 180-mile radius there because we do serve some other major cities around the Omaha area. And you can do one of 2 things here. Hours of operation. Usually it's always a good idea to put your hours of operation, because at least that will give them more information to your listings. And so I usually just put 7 o'clock for my businesses, but you of course will put whatever is necessary for yours. So if you have more of a a brick and mortar type business, you need to put in exactly what your hours of operation are. And again, more information the better. And then the next thing is payment type. You just want to include everything that is available to you as far as payment type. So obviously the more the better. Now here is 2 sections that we're going to go over that are very important. The first one is photos, and the second one is videos. Now the thing is you can add up to 10 photos. Oops, I kind of crossed it off there, but it says 10 photos and 5 videos. And this is part of the additional the 7 steps to higher rankings that we're going to go over here in a minute, but it's important to talk about now because you want to add as many useful, relatable photos as possible. And the same thing with the videos. And I'm not going to go into all the details here now about why that is. We're going to go over that stuff in the next section, but it's important to know. So if you have videos and just like a YouTube, which you should have anyway, and we'll talk about more about that in a second, but you can put that in there, and then any photos that you may have. All right, and as you can see here, what I've done is I've added some photos. I've added some photos up in here, right here, and I added 5. You can do 10. I got 5. And as you can see, what I've done is the first one, this is important, the first one that you put up is going to be when somebody does click on your information through the Google Places listings, they're going to see your first picture that you put here. That's going to be the the main one that they see up at the very top by all of your pertinent data. And so you want to put an important picture there. It can be your location or something like that. What I have here is a free offer for a report, because really what I ultimately want them to do is go to my website, get on my email list so I can follow up with them and learn more about what I have to offer. And then some of the other information I have is I have just my logo, a picture of me, egad, right? I know, I'm sorry, but it does make it a little more personable, I think. But then also, since I represent the training program, which is QBQ, I have their logo and then a copy of kind of what they're going to get if they invest in the training system. So it just gives them a better understanding of kind of what we're all about here. So we scroll down here a little bit and we'll see where I added the video. And this is the video section. Again, you can add up to 5, and I just added 1. That's really about all I need. I mean, I may need more at a later date, but 1 is pretty sufficient at this point for what I need for my personal business. Now, some of the ideas that you can use for videos are things that you want to relate to your customers. You don't want to make it just about you. What you want to do is you want to show the benefits that what your business offers, or what problems you can solve for your customer. You don't want to make it, something generic like, well, we've been in, we're locally owned and been in business for 25 years and blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares about that. Ultimately, what people care about is how you're going to solve their problems, okay? If I'm hungry and I want Italian food and I type in Omaha Italian restaurants, and I'm looking for restaurants and I go to Google Places and one pops up and I look on it and then there's videos there and I look at the videos and I frankly don't want to hear how long you've been in business. I don't care. I want to hear how special, what you do to make the environment exciting, or how you prepare your food in a way that gives it a better taste and things like that. So to focus on the videos, you want to make it about your customer, not about you. So that's kind of a sidebar here, but it's very important to talk about. So here we are, and we got pretty much all this stuff taken care of. Okay, so let's scroll back down here and we're going to go ahead and hit submit. Okay, and then it brings us to this area, which what this means is how are you going to validate your listing, because Google does not want a bunch of, frankly, crap up there that isn't true and isn't real, and they don't want people trying to manipulate the system. So there's 2 ways to do it, 1 or 2. The best way is, of course, by phone. What they'll do is they will call you at the number that you've given, and then they're going to give you a PIN number that when it calls, you punch in the number and then it will automatically validate it. That's important because you don't want to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get your validation via postcard. That takes way too long and it's not even worth it. You got a phone, it's an active phone, use it. That's the best way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now and do that now, and I can show you what happens. Okay, so here we are. I chose to verify by phone and I hit finish and it brings me to this. And as you can see, it says Google is now calling you by phone and will give you a PIN number in which that has happened. And then it says here that needs action not yet published, enter your PIN. So I'm going to do that now, and then you hit go. So then once you hit go, it takes you to this and it says thank you, we've confirmed your PIN and validated your listing. So your listing should appear in Google Maps within 1 day. So we appreciate your patience, which that is awesome.